So I've talked a little bit about the demands that Harry and Meghan are making, which have to be granted if they're going to make an appearance at the coronation. I have talked with one journalist who is absolutely convinced that they haven't been invited to the coronation. Interesting stuff, huh? So he and his colleagues at one of the UK's top newspapers have been talking about the press release which came out of Montecito and landed right on their desks on the evening of March 3rd. This press release came from a Sussex spokesman. I can confirm the Duke has recently received email correspondence from His Majesty's office regarding the coronation. An immediate decision on whether the Duke and Duchess will attend will not be disclosed by us at this time. So whoever released this press release was pretty careful not to say, I can confirm the Duke has recently received an invitation. And this is something that the press boys are talking about a lot. They are convinced that Charles did not issue an invitation, but instead he is going to extend to them an olive branch that's going to allow them to attend the coronation. And they're also assuming, which is a pretty well-informed assumption, that Charles's olive branch is going to come with some conditions attached, which of course Meghan Markle is not going to be very happy about and she'll probably just reject. They're also saying that it is not going to be Harry's decision at all, that he's not going to have any say in the matter. Well, I've got to say, this build up to the coronation is getting pretty exciting. If we watch closely, I think we're going to feel pretty entertained, probably more than we ever considered possible. The nasty duo maybe trying to PR their way out of the bring your kids with you. I don't believe a thing they demand. It is all just a game to them, and it looks to me like they're losing this game. I've also noticed a little pattern with these press releases. It seems like they do that to pave the way for Meghan's next lie. From the very start, I kind of thought that the email was not a formal invitation, but that Meghan and Harry are trying to pass it off as that to the media and the public. If you play stupid games, you are going to win stupid prizes. You know good and well that if they got a real invitation, they would use that for Netflix. I'm curious, though, if they're going to bother quoting an email informing them of the requirements for them to receive an official invitation. For example, that only working royals will be allowed on the balcony, and no, Meghan, you cannot borrow any royal jewels. They're not going to be able to have front row seats, and no, Netflix and your own camera crew are simply not allowed to tag along. And yes, you are going to be checked for recording devices. This is all just a game to Meghan and Harry. They want people to be asking the question, oh, will they or won't they attend? See, they think that if they get people to play this game, then they have control of the situation. And King Charles is just going to be nervously waiting for the reply and the hope that the two most important members of the family are going to be there at the coronation to make it the most amazing event ever. Even more amazing than their spectacle wedding. I mean, what in the world is the poor king going to do if the two of them don't show up? The crowds are not going to get to see that rictus grin on Meghan's face, and they won't get to see the glassy eyes on Harry. If their attendance doesn't happen, then what kind of drama is going to happen that stopped them from coming to the UK, I wonder? And on the other hand, if Meghan's PR people can release that the lawsuit against Meghan by her sister Samantha has been dismissed in Meghan's favor, which apparently, in fact, it wasn't, then it would be pretty easy for them to release a statement claiming that Meghan and Harry have actually been invited to the coronation, even if they haven't. And about this stupid award that Meghan is getting, I wouldn't be surprised if the people behind this award gave it to her because they assumed that she was just a member of the royal family, that she was in good standing before the coronation. But if they find out otherwise, that Meghan was not even invited to the coronation, they might want to take that award back. Or could this just be fake news to try to persuade the judge to rule in Harry's favor in his case against Associated Newspaper? We could argue that the judge overseeing the case where Meghan forgot ruled in her favor because he assumed that she was a member of the royal family and that they actually liked her. It's pretty remarkable, though, that this PR team is not held accountable for spreading so many lies. I am convinced at this point that Harry and Meghan have to be some of the stupidest people on this planet. I have been suspicious for a while now that they were not actually invited, and I think that wording is pretty careful to not mention an official invitation. Big kudos to King Charles if this is true and if they can only come on his terms. And of course, Meghan is going to reject his terms, which is what we all want in the end, don't we? I think most of us can agree that it would be for the best if the two of them just don't come. Of course, there's going to be some nonsense announced from California on that day. Maybe the back of Archofficial's head with a big birthday cake in the background. It's going to be very blurry, though, and probably in black and white, like always. A coronation is not a family party like Meghan Markle seems to believe it is. The royal family also assumes that for most people, an invitation to a real royal event is a one off. So, invitations are typically keepsakes that can be displayed and shown to other people. It is a once in a lifetime event, this coronation. Getting an invitation is never going to be sent by email. Come on, that is ludicrous. Tweedledee and Tweedledum are very narcissistic, and they have very narcissistic tendencies. Their narcissistic behavior, though, is not going to allow them miss something so important. And their little tiny minuscule brains, the two of them really believe that since Harry's father is going to be crowned king, that makes them so important. I mean, they know this is going to go down in history, and they think, oh, well, history books are really big, so we got to get in there. See, as narcissists, they know this is going to be a big deal and it will go down in history. So the two of them are convinced they have got to be there. And they're going to do something to try to steal the king's thunder on the coronation day because that's going to get their names written in the history book they believe. And also, it's going to get them some worldwide TV coverage, which is likely. So, how are they going to try and upstage the coronation? I mean, they only have so many tricks in their hat. And I think they've already used every single trick they've got, so I don't know what they're going to do. But they're going to do something to try to take attention away from the fact that the king is being crowned, because that is what people are interested in seeing. I mean, maybe also people want to see if Archie is real or fake, but that's secondary. And I've got a feeling that Archie Official is going to be right up there with the two of them front and center, because that is the only card they have left to play. And if they show Invisibad, well, that's going to upstage even Archie. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they put Invisibad up there front and center. Nobody's even going to know the kids are there until the moment the coronation starts, or they're going to appear maybe just a few seconds before the crowning begins, because they'll think, oh, now all eyes are going to be on those two kids instead of King Charles or the Queen Consort being crowned. That is how narcissistic people typically function. And they don't even care if people hate them or boo them. All they care about is getting attention and how many photos are going to be published. I can just see it now. It is going to be a three-ring circus. But you know what? That is what narcissists love. King Charles, the truth of the matter is you cannot win this battle against these narcissists. The best thing to do now is just to walk away and don't give them any more attention. I understand Harry is your son, but he doesn't want to be your son any longer. I mean, and I think that for a long time, he hasn't really been the same person. Meghan Markle has completely corrupted his brain. And nothing that the king says or does is going to change the fact that if he gives in just a little, they're going to take a lot. They are going to try to destroy everything that he has worked so hard for. Harry has already caused quite the divide in the family, so anything that the king says or does in the eyes of Beatrice and Andrew is going to be spilled to Harry, because a narcissist is never going to allow him to breathe or get 1 minute of peace. I'm sorry, but the king has already wasted more than enough of his time on these two sick human beings. It's time to move on. It's time to ignore the two of them and start focusing on the more important things in life. I mean, King Charles has many family members left who are actually supportive and loving, so why does he care about Harry and Meghan? I know it's sad to have to cut off a son, but sometimes it is necessary. And the more that the king ignores them, the more they see what they're doing and saying doesn't have any effect on him. So that's going to eventually cause them to fade into nothingness, and that's exactly where they belong.